This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Tuesday? It's rainy Tuesday here in West Alabama. Hope you and yours are doing well. This is the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. You're checking us out on the Bama Central YouTube channel. You're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon, your favorite podcast platforms. You can check them out right there, or you can find us on my own social media machines at Joe Gaither6. We're going to have, hopefully, a fun Tuesday today. I don't have Abby in the studio, but I do have my friend Mason Woods. You can follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_. We're going to get into a handful of different topics today. We're going to talk about Lane Kiffin. We'll revisit our conversation yesterday about the SEC championship. We will talk about Ivan Taylor, Keon Sabb, a little Bama in the NFL. A little bit of Mike Elko sound, Texas A&M. We getting excited for that. Oh, but first we got to tell you we are here live in the Derek Daniel State Farm studio right off of McFarland Boulevard. Call Derek Daniel for all of your insurance needs, home, life, and auto insurance needs. Derek Daniel, like a good neighbor, State Farm and Derek Daniel is there. Call him today at 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Mason, what's good, man? How we doing on this rainy Tuesday?
I'm doing great. You know, we were talking about it right before we started the show. I think, contrary to what a lot of people may think, me and you actually, we love the rain. I'm all for the rainy weather. Give me more dreary days. I love kind of just wrapping up inside, just sit inside. We staying nice and warm. It's going to be a good day.
100%. I got my boat out today and my paddle and just paddle my way over to the studio. And I was just like, yeah, this is perfect. This is wonderful. Look, this isn't to be too personal, but we all have a little bit of, darkness in us. And this, the rain soothes that for me. And so today, it's going to be a good day. I hope it's going to be a good day for everybody who's watching and listening to us right here on the show. Stay safe in the rain. I know the traffic is crazier. I already saw an 18-wheeler that ran into a vehicle. Did you see that too as well? Not good. So be careful on the roadways. If you are worried about your auto insurance, that's a great time to call Daniel 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. So, Mason, I want to open it up to you. Let's just start off the show, and I want to throw it to you from our conversation yesterday. I left you with a pretty healthy 10, 15-minute spiel about why everybody should be going to the SEC championship. Yeah. Lane Kiffin heard us and said, okay, I hear you, Joe. It sounds good. The reward, the double bye, the first round, the high seed, the favorable travel, all sounds great. But I'm worried about going to Atlanta, losing, and being left out. So with all that said, and Lane Kiffin kind of saying, me and the coaches are chatting. They got their coaches group chat that Nick Saban will chat in every so often. They're chatting. What if we go to Atlanta and lose? Will we get left out or not? So, Mason, with everything I said yesterday, I just want to have you open the show talking about your feelings. Open up your feelings on the top.
Well, I think Lane Kiffin heard the show. I don't think Lane Kiffin listened to the show. I think you laid it all out there pretty perfectly as to why, especially if you're Lane Kiffin, you need this game. You do not have the same luxury that Alabama, that Georgia, that Ohio State, but you do not have the same luxury that Texas. These teams have the brand recognition. They have years of good football, decades of dominance in this sport that Ole Miss does not have. The people on this committee that don't watch every game on Saturday, that don't watch you play 12 games this season, they're going to look at that and they're going to say, Ole Miss. When were they good? I mean, are they really that good? Is this just kind of a fluke? Whereas they're going to look at Alabama, they're going to look at Georgia, they're going to look at Texas, and they're going to say, well, we know they're good. They've been here. You need this game, Lane Kiffin. You need to play in this game. You need to prove yourself. I understand you beat Georgia. That was cool. People have already started to forget about that. Those people making these decisions that probably didn't even watch all of that game have already started to forget about that. If you go one more week where you don't see the field, they're going to forget all about you. You need this game. You especially need this game, Lane Kiffin. You need all eyes on Ole Miss. You need as many eyes as you can get on your team playing good football.
I'd say that at LSU and at Tennessee are pretty equitable losses from an Alabama and Ole Miss standpoint. How do you feel about at Vanderbilt versus Kentucky at home? What loss is worse? What loss is better?
Come on now. I don't let's just be honest here. We have talked about the Vanderbilt Commodores all season or all season. Like this, it was a good team. That is a much better loss for Alabama than it is for Ole Miss losing to Kentucky, who we have also talked about on this show as being utterly horrible, just terrible.
Doo-doo.
There is nothing redeeming about that Kentucky team. I can't, obviously I have not watched the Kentucky Wildcats every weekend in depth, but
they can't throw the ball worth a dang.
No, there's nowhere that you think about that Kentucky team and you think, well, they can build around that. That Kentucky team has nothing right now. Stoops, buddy, you count your days in Lexington.
All right, so let's go into because I agree with you specifically to Ole Miss. Ole Miss needs to be in that game, and everything that we said, you need to be there to leave that last impression. But let's talk about the specifics of Lane's complaint.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to go. We're worried about going to Atlanta because we're concerned how the committee will evaluate a big 3 in the loss column. Right now, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU, Georgia, all with 2 losses. Texas A&M as well. Texas with just the 1 in conference play. Does that loss matter? Would that loss? Let's say you're Alabama. You're sitting there at 9. You're sitting there at 7. You're sitting there whatever they're going to be tonight, 8, 9, so right in that range. And you're going to Atlanta, and you're playing. Let's just assume favorites all are going to win. Texas. You're playing Texas in the SEC championship game. And, game goes 60 minutes, 4 quarters, battle. Alabama, you've lost by 3. You've lost by 7. You've lost by 10. Does that loss bump Alabama out of the college football playoff?
I don't think so. I think, when you look at the rest of the field, you look at the other teams that would potentially take their place. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but it's not some good teams. It's not a lot of very good teams that will that are even remotely on the same level as an Alabama in this scenario. It's teams that if you drop them in that same SEC championship, Texas is blowing the absolute doors off of them. So I do think while I just spent a few minutes talking about how the committee doesn't really watch a lot of football sometimes, that championship Saturday, that's where they're going to lock in. That's why you want to be on TV, is because that's where those people will actually be watching the football. They're not going to watch the Monday and regular season games super close, but on the championship Saturday, that's where they're going to be watching. So you need to be out there. And I think, yes, a bad loss, sure, that probably knocks you out. But if you're losing a close game, last second field goal, I don't see how there's any way they keep that team out, if it's Alabama or Texas, honestly, in that scenario.
That's where I'm sitting as well. That if you are going to Atlanta, if your name is Texas A&M, if your name is Alabama, if your name is Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, you could basically, I think, say that we're in the playoff. You can call that a de facto game. Here's,
I just
where my mind goes. Go ahead.
If you just look at it, we have 4 Power 4 conferences now. We all know this. You take
Power 2.
Really, but let's call it Power 4. That gives you your 2 teams that played for the championship of each of those. That's 8 teams right there. You still have 4 spots. So those 8 teams are 8 of the best teams in college football. They just played for 4 of the championships of the 4 best conferences in college football. So it's not crazy to be like they deserve to be in there either.
But I don't think that's going to be the case for every championship.
Not necessarily.
I think it's going to be the case for SEC and Big Ten.
The Big 2.
You're in a single bid league in the ACC unless really weirdness happens.
I do think there's maybe a chance the ACC could get 2 potentially.
Yeah, if SMU upsets Miami and somehow they favorably look at Miami like they should be in anyways. We love you, Cam Ward, kind of a thing.
I think that's about it.
Here's where my mind goes, Mason. We love the NCAA basketball tournament.
Yeah,
coming up soon. You go into conference championship weekend, right, the tournament.
Mhm.
And everybody builds it up. Oh man, if Alabama can win 4 in a row in Nashville, they can move from the 3 seed to the 1 seed. They can move from the 3 seed to a 2, whatever the case may be. This is just an example. They can move up the lines. And every year I feel like we watch these conference tournaments and team X in random conference made a deep run to the conference tournament final, and that should boost their resume to get them in. So Selection Sunday comes, they're left out.
Yep.
I think so often the NCAA tournament basically more or less has their bracket somewhat done before the conference tournament weekend. And then there's just a little adjustments that happen afterwards. I think that the NCAA, the College Football Selection Committee is going to be doing the same thing. I think they're going to view the conference championship weekend as a mere formality, as a mere kind of bonus game. Obviously you have to get an SEC, or excuse me, an ACC and a Big 12 representative. So somebody's got to get in there, and you got to watch the other conference title games to see if it's going to be Boise State or if it's going to be anyone else, Tulane maybe. But I would think that the majority of the decision making will have already been done before that Saturday even starts. I think you're going to go into that Friday and you're going to know you got these 12 teams with about these 3 or 4 teams outside looking in. And there's not going to be a whole lot of play.
Yeah.
Unless, like you said, if Team X gets blown out by Team Y in Atlanta, maybe that team falls out. But
it kind of feels like you can really only win. You can't really lose going to the conference championship.
If you're an SEC team, yes. Yeah. And probably a Big Ten team as well. You can talk about it from an Ohio State, Indiana perspective. Who wants to win that game to go play Oregon in the Big Ten championship, right? You want to play when did we get so afraid of competing? Isn't that the name of the game? Isn't that the name of the sport? Is let's test ourselves to show who's the best, to prove ourselves that we'll take on anybody anytime. Look, there's a championship being decided in Atlanta. You're invited, Lane Kiffin. Are you going? Yes, you're going. I feel like it would be so much easier if the committee were to define their criteria a whole lot more clearly.
Absolutely. They've made it. And I tinfoil hat time, kind of feel like this is just by design to keep everyone arguing about it.
Yes.
It just keeps the internet discourse alive about the playoff. But yeah, if they would just come out with very strict guidelines, this is how we grade teams. This is what matters. This is what does not matter. We'd all be in a better place. But that's not what happens.
I have Twitter notifications on, right?
Oh no, what we got?
Nothing like that may have warranted the face that I just made, but Texas and Notre Dame just officially decided to do a little home and home series.
Ooh,
football home and home series.
I like that.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Please, more of
That's
this.
what I'm talking about. You don't need any of this Northern Illinois crap. It's Mercer BS. It's Western Kentucky. Go test yourself.
Yeah.
Go boost your resume. You're talking about, Alabama has 4 wins over ranked opponents and Texas has none. And okay, go test yourself. That makes me excited. 2028, 2029, Texas, Notre Dame, home and home.
I'd be interested to see where those two teams are by that point. Marcus Freeman still at Notre Dame?
No, but C. Sarkisian is at Texas.
Yeah.
Is at Texas. So yeah, I just made me when I heard Lane, I just thought, okay, Lane.
Do you think that's almost like a little just kind of code for Lane being like, hey, I built my team entirely out of transfer portal players and I have no depth. So if anybody gets hurt, we're really screwed.
I'm sure that's part of it. I'm sure that's part of it. But you can say it's 4 games either way, whether you're playing the SEC, but it could be 5 games. It could be 5 games. If you lose, you're playing in the first round, and thus you're playing that extra game. You do get the bye week after the 14th. December 14th becomes your off week, and so you don't get 2 bye weeks. You get 1 bye week, and so you're essentially. It's dumb. It seems so dumb and soft for me to I hear we don't want to play. We want to take the week off. We want to rest, and that just sounds so soft.
It's not football,
right?
It's not very. Like, we're football guys. Like, you want to play football? Let's play some football.
There's a championship being given out. There's rings. There's a trophy.
A lot of money.
A banner. You're going to start selling all kinds of merchandise.
Think about the
Alabama
recruits.
SEC champion, Georgia SEC champion. I mean, look, my parents, I love them. They wore that Georgia 2003 SEC championship sweatshirt all the time. All the time. So don't say it doesn't matter. It definitely does matter.
Ole Miss has not won a conference title ever.
The SEC title, right?
Golly.
They've never won an SEC title, right?
The Ole Miss has won. They have 6 SEC conference titles: 1947, 54, 55, 60, 62, and 63. Apparently,
in football,
maybe.
Conference title. Yeah, no, SEC. You're right. Yeah, 6 SEC championships. 47, 54,
Do we
55,
even count any of those, though? I mean,
60,
that was
62, and 63.
Before we played real sports.
Before we did conference championship games. So no title game counts before 92, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
No.
Ole Miss.
1947, like a couple years after World War II? No, we don't care.
I don't, my general rule of thumb is I like just kind of the 70s is where I really start. That feels like that's where sports really picked up, just kind of across the board. 70s, 80s. I feel like anything before that, that's where we've got plumbers out there shooting free throws and things in basketball. Like
Johnny Vaught, 6-time SEC champion. Come on, Ole Miss. You want to keep making history.
Yeah.
I just think the and maybe this is me being naive. Mason, tell me if I'm naive. But I just think the attitude of if we go to Atlanta and lose, they'll kick us out. They won't let us in the field. I think that's an unfounded fear.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I think there's a chance it could happen. I do think that there are on that committee.
Maybe if your name is Ole Miss, but if your name's not, if your name is Alabama, no.
No. I do think on that committee, like I have previously said on this show, even earlier today, some of them are maybe a bit more casual fans and will potentially just look at the record and say, ooh, 3 losses with no context otherwise and want to knock that team out. They'll never make me trust the committee and their opinions on football because they've shown us for a decade now that they really don't know what they're talking about a lot of the time. Sometimes they get it right, but a lot of times they do not. So, yeah, Lane Kiffin, you want to play in this game. You need this game. You need every bit of assurance as to, hey, I have a good football team that you can get.
Let's keep going on the Joe Gaither Show right here on a Tuesday, right here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Call 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Mason, you were busy last night. Little news, little fun news last night. A little busy. Alabama. Look, we've been having a bad time on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, last week was tough. You lose 3 commitments last week. Turbo Rogers, running back, Dawson Merritt, linebacker, and Kate Cunningham, wide receiver. It was a tough week, but hey, you last night you flipped a 4-star recruit for 2025 from Michigan. So go ahead and go and get him out of Wolverine's back pocket. Ivan Taylor Taylor, that last name may sound a little familiar to anybody who's an NFL fan. He's the son of former Steelers defensive back Ike Taylor. Played for the Steelers for like 12 years. I mean, he was we had this conversation briefly before we got on the show. I feel like maybe I'm crazy because I remember who Ike Taylor was. I was in a conversation with a friend last night. He was trying to tell me I'm insane because I was like, yeah, he's Ike Taylor's kid. Isn't that great? Whatever. Son of Ike Taylor. Everything I've seen, I watched a little bit of highlights last night. I wasn't able to find a ton, but I saw some clips on Twitter that he had posted, that other people had posted. He makes some really nice plays. He's a hard hitter. He's a bit of a ball hawk. It seems like from what I've read a little bit from people who have been able to watch him play in person, they say that he has ability to kind of cover, do a little man-to-man coverage, but he's definitely more of a safety type, more of a over the top kind of just a bit of a ball hawk. I'm excited for what he brings.
6 foot 174,
a little undersized.
24/7 considers him a 4-star prospect. That considers him the number 2 safety in the class. The composite has him as the number 7 safety in the class, and the composite has him rated as the 59th overall prospect in the entire class. So for Alabama to have suffered a little bit of losses over last week. It's nice to get a win.
They'll be all right. Yeah, I mean, they're still looking. They still have a top 3 class in just about every recruiting ranking that you can find. So, Alabama's still looking okay for the 2025 class. No need to hit the panic button yet. Keelan Russell is still coming. That'd be the thing that would really, knock on wood, be the cause of any panic here.
Yeah, perfect. I had a friend who texted me. He said, "Should we be starting to worry?" I said, "I don't think so." I mean, look at these three guys. Well, first,
I think of those 3, Dawson Merritt is maybe the one that is the most concerning.
Sure,
but it's going to be okay.
But I said, look how hot you were in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was bound to you're bound to not keep everybody that you got in the summer. First, second, look at the 3 guys who have made their decisions this week. Turbo Rogers. I have heard, this is not like hard and fast truth, but I have heard that Alabama hadn't really been in contact with him much over the last couple of months. So it's kind of like,
I mean, he was interesting because he didn't really fit the typical mold of what Alabama has gone for at running back. He's a smaller guy. He's like 5'9", right around 190, I think, like 200. So he's a smaller back.
He goes to IMG a year ago and doesn't really play as a junior. Then he comes back to Montgomery, right? And again, doesn't really play. He's got a weird.
Yeah, it's just kind of a strange thing. So that one is
definitely wish him the best, but this is just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I know that's happened. Like. Then secondly, okay, Caleb Cunningham, we talked about that last week, man. Highest bidder.
He wants to do the Ryan Williams thing.
Right. Highest bidder to the in-state school. Like, that's just going to be what's going to happen with recruiting. And boom, same thing. Dawson Merritt, we're from Kansas. Nebraska's the big-time program close to us. I don't think that his dad is going to be leaving his job as the Kansas City Chiefs assistant coach anytime soon. So I think that those 3, do they all stink? Of course. Sure. They stink a little bit, but are they that big a deal? No.
I think in the grand scheme of things, this is, like I said, this is still a top 3 class in the country. This is still a class that is full of talent that other teams would be banging the door down to get, just a chance at getting on their team. So, everything is okay in Alabama land on the recruiting trail for 2025. 2026 is still looking all right. 2027 even got some recruits there. So everything's all right.
Mason, let's keep going right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com. Follow my friend Mason Woods at MAWoods_. Find our friends Purple Turtle Roofing at roofturtle.com. You can call Purple Turtle Roofing for all of your residential roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of their qualified employees will come check out your roof for free and make sure you're prepared for any and all of life's storms. Having a small storm today, you don't want to have any leaks. So call Dustin Foley and Purple Turtle Roofing at 877-787-6635. Spent a little time in the Naylor Stone media room yesterday hearing from Nick Sheridan, Kane Womack, and Kalen DeBoer. Those guys are professional talkers. Not a whole lot of real information coming out, but Coach DeBoer did let us know a status update on Keon Sabb.
Yeah, this is one that we had speculated when he went down that maybe, if Alabama makes a run, he'd be able to be available for a semifinal championship game potentially. But unfortunately, Caleb DeBoer confirms he is going to be out the rest of the season.
I said that he had some surgery pretty recently, I think, on the foot. I would imagine that it took some time to let the swelling go down before they did the surgery, was my guess. And he said he's been hanging out with all the other guys who are out. Like, it took him a while to dance around it, to get to it. He said, he's hanging out with the rest of the guys who are out for the year. It was effusive in his praise. We're thankful for who he is, his leadership, XYZ, ABC, and we think he's on track to be back next year. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, there it is. He's done.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Bray Hubbard season 1-8, baby.
He's had a great year. Now, I will say, I do think, unfortunately for Keon Sabb, this maybe makes it a little tougher for him to get back on the field when he is coming back.
Well, Malachi's
I guess that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about this. So never mind. I forget that then.
Malachi, and probably is it Devontae Smith, an older player as well?
I thought he was only.
I
think he's a redshirt. I thought he was a redshirt sophomore.
Maybe so.
Either way, he'll be fine. But that is tough. I had hoped it would be
Junior.
one
Yeah,
of those.
redshirt junior.
Okay, so they'll have plenty of room.
He's an older man.
They'll have plenty of room then. Okay. That's a tough one, though. I was really hoping that they would maybe just, storybook ending to the season. Bama goes to a title game. Oh, Keon Sabb's healthy, gets on the field a little bit, maybe makes a big play, in the mold of Jalen Waddle a few years back. But no, alas, we'll have to see him next year.
What will this time off and Bray Hubbard's subsequent play do for Keon Sabb mentally coming back next year as far as this is how I should be fitting into this defense?
I mean, I have to imagine he'll be extremely motivated to, I don't want to say like outplay Bray, but, kind of regain his respect a little bit because people have maybe forgotten about him some with Bray Hubbard playing so well. And I think that, while I don't think anybody thinks Keon Sabb is bad at football,
No.
they maybe just don't quite remember him as much, and he'll want to make sure people do remember him.
I don't know if you might have grasped my point. Look, so what's made Bray, at least this is my opinion, this is totally my opinion, what's made Bray so effective so far is that he gets the call. What's my assignment? I'm going to execute that assignment.
Okay.
Level 10. I'm going to, if I have deep half, maybe I'm covering that deep half like white on rice. Like I am there. If I have flat responsibility, if I'm covering the running back, or if I'm man to man on a slot, like I will do that job. Level 10. Here we go. I think Keon Sabb, in his first 5 weeks or so, whatever it was, 4, 5, 6 weeks or so, played well, absolutely played well, and made plays. I mean, people remember you get the interception in the first game, you have your hands on the ball against Vanderbilt. He was all over the field in his action. I mean, he breaks up the pass for Squirrel White. He's all over the place. But I think there was a little element of improvisation. There was a little element of instinct. There was a little element of I'm just feeling it out here. I'm just feeling it, and I'm just trying. Which, look, he played well.
Yeah.
I wonder if watching Bray Hubbard just say, this is the job, I'm going to do the job, and see how it fits, like to step back and see how it all fits and see, oh, wow, Bray's making plays. He's up to 3 or 4 turnovers already in these limited these limited reps. He's had a couple of big pass breakups. He smashes the LSU guy in the flat down there in Baton Rouge. Like, he's got a couple memorable plays, which I think is just from, do you know your assignment? Are you in the right place at the right time? Bam, there's your play.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if he sees this. And again, this is just opinion. This is just opinion, speculation from what I've watched on film, what I've kind of just I wonder if he sees this and says, all right, I've got winter and spring to get healthy. And obviously we want that first. Yeah. But I also can see, wow, Kane Womack, he's got it going on. And if I just do what he's telling me to do, I'm going to be in a lot of positions to make plays. I'm a good athlete. I'm a real good athlete. I've got good hands. I'm going to be in a real position. I wonder what that does for his game as far as coming into seeing it on the field, seeing somebody, not to say he'll take Bray's job.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably both be on the field next year, but just understanding how the defense works as far as 11 pieces, 11 parts into one scheme.
Yeah, I think absolutely. This is something we've kind of talked about the last few shows, like how this defense has really turned a corner the last few weeks. And obviously Bray Hubbard has been fantastic, but I mean, it's all 11 members of the defense.
Yeah.
This will go, I think that will go all across the whole defense, not just to Keon Sabb seeing it, but yeah, that absolutely, I think, will be a motivating factor, seeing, how, okay, all I got to do, I can fully trust the coach to just tell me what to do, and he is going to put me in positions to make plays, and then you combine that with the improvisational skills that Keon Sabb has, that maybe a Bray Hubbard, maybe that's what kind of the difference is between those two players. And then we're looking at a really, really elite defender, someone who is going to be there in all the times to make plays, but someone who is also going to be able to say, oh, we need a little spark here. Let me go make it happen. So yeah, I think absolutely that is going to be something that he looks at, because he is someone who is probably going to be spending a lot of time trying to figure out, with Malachi leaving, with potentially Devontae Smith, how he can fit into next year's defense, coming back healthy. So yeah, I think that's definitely something that is going to really motivate him to not change his game, but maybe it's changed the way he approaches it.
Yeah, just the small adjustments.
Do you think also? I mean, it could have just been potentially just being new in the defense a little bit. I think that maybe plays into it also. So maybe just just getting him more time in this system under his belt will help as well. But yeah, definitely seeing not only how Bray Hubbard has stepped up, but how the whole defense in the last 3-4 weeks has really rallied behind Kane Womack and started doing exactly what I think this system is capable of. That's going to be huge.
So sad news for Keon Sabb. Sad news if you are a Sabb fan. We are hopeful that he has a smooth recovery and gets back on the field very soon. I think from a selfish standpoint, I'm excited to have Keon back for another year.
Mhm.
I think that when he transferred to Alabama, there was a little bit of thought that he was going to be one and done off to the NFL. And maybe he was on that track, maybe. But I think it'd be great to have him back in Tuscaloosa another year. I think that he's loved it. Is everything that I've heard is that he just loved Alabama, loved the transition, and found a real home here. So bad luck, but I think it's going to end up working out okay.
I hope so too. I think he's a he's a very, very talented player.
All right, let's get to off the wall before we go into Bama in the NFL. And I have a video clip for us from Mr. Mike Elko.
We've sung some high praises for Mike
Elko.
Elko.
Mike, oh my gosh. This is a slip. This is a bad slip. Like, I know Auburn's bad. But there might be okay, I saw this today. I think I'm looking this up just to confirm what I saw to make sure I wasn't just total hooey, because it sounded like total hooey when I read it. SEC, because I want to know this for sure. Is Texas A&M really only a 2.5-point favorite this week? Is that what I saw? Yes. Wow. That is a stinky. Like, look, gamble at your own risk. Gamble at your own risk. But you want to make $100? Mm-hmm. That might be a place to make $100. But before you do lay that $100, you need to hear if Texas A&M is focusing on Auburn.
There's already so much talk about November 30th. It was announced as a night game today. How do you deal with that with your guys and saying, hey, we still have something ahead of us at Auburn, or is that even a big issue with your team?
I don't think it's an issue. I think when you're in the situation we're in, it's easy to focus on the task at hand. I think, those big games earlier in the year, maybe you look ahead. If we didn't have that stake, what's at stake? Maybe you would worry about it. I think our focus is single-handedly on on Auburn right now, and locked in on what we got to get done.
That's a tough one. That is a tough slip.
He almost did the exact. He almost said the perfect thing. He was laying it out there. It was
so good.
He was laying out there. We're focused on the main things. The first things first.
No. Now I have
focused on Texas,
because that line.
Auburn.
That line is atrocious. There is not a world where Texas A&M is only a 2.5-point better football team than Auburn. However, now we know Texas A&M Aggies. We know what they have done in their history in recent years.
They're doing the same thing this week. A&M and Auburn. They're both doing the same thing.
Yeah.
This game's going to be disgusting to watch.
What's the over-under for this game?
46.5. So the implied score, what's that?
Was that
23. The implied score is 25-23.
Yeah,
or 23, 21-23, something like that. 24-21, somewhere in there. Yeah. In case you didn't pick, both programs, A&M and Auburn, are doing the exact same thing this week. They're both saying to hell with this game. Now, A&M, they got your playoff picture, your SEC championship. It's still all right there in front of you.
Big Longhorn back there behind that Auburn Tiger. That big 50-gallon cowboy hat.
On you. all the live long day.
Can't escape that burnt
The eyes
orange.
of Texas are upon you. You cannot get away.
Mike Elko, I am talking to you. Please, God, do not lose to Auburn this weekend.
That would be insanity. Now, take us back 2, 4, 5 shows ago.
Yeah.
SEC championships chaos scenario,
Yeah.
and I say, Mason, you're outside your damn mind if you think Auburn is going to be beating Texas A&M, and you got people on here saying, "Oh, Auburn beating Texas A&M could send everybody into." I'm like, don't y'all know Hugh Freeze has been preparing for Auburn for the last 6 weeks? Hugh Freeze, like, that's what makes this line so. That's what makes this game so insane to me. Is that I think. Of course, Texas A&M, you have to win. You have to win to get to how. I'd be so offended.
Glorious.
I would be so offended if you lose to Auburn on Saturday and ruin my Saturday night in two Saturdays, where I'm going to sit there with all the popcorn in the world watching Texas and Texas A&M beat the living snot out of each other. Like, don't ruin this for me, Mike Elko, by going to Auburn and laying an egg. Do not do this. But that would be so little brother. That would be so Texas A&M.
Honestly, I think it might even be better though. Is that losing to
And then for
A&M
A&M to turn around and beat Texas?
I mean, come on. Wouldn't it be amazing? Oh, that's like, I mean, you can't write it any better than that. Texas A&M goes out, lays an egg this weekend against the worst team in the SEC, Auburn. Oh, Texas sees it. Oh, we're fine. Steve Sarkisian tells Quinn Ewers, tells Arch Manning, hey, boys, strap it up. Let's get out there and whoop us some Aggies. And Mike Elko gets his team ready to go to DKR.
Do not think you can escape
That's what I'm, you know what? Take back what I said just a minute ago. I'm rooting for it. Auburn, do your thing this weekend.
No.
Peyton Thorne, sling it. Go run the ball. Jarquez Hunter, I want 45 carries for him. I want you to fling it to Cam Cole. Hugh Freeze, I want you to unload, reach into your backpack, bring out everything you have this weekend, and lay it all out on the line.
It would be great, yes, but he's scared.
He won't do it.
He's like, I got to save all this stuff for next week. We're going to Tuscaloosa. We got to.
Well, it's because he knows that could be the difference between him and him losing his job or not. Maybe
I don't think that they can afford it.
I don't think they can either.
Just like LSU,
but
can't
I didn't
afford
think
it.
they could. I didn't think they could afford Harsin, and they did it. So, I'm rooting. You know what? I'm rooting for it. Auburn beats Texas A&M. That puts us Texas A&M with 2 losses in the SEC. Texas A&M goes to DKR
3 because they got LSU and South Carolina. They'd be out of the SEC championship race, and they'd be out of the playoff race. The next, their last salvageable moment is to ruin Texas's season.
It would just be so funny.
It's to beat Texas, ruin the Longhorn season, further the chaos theory. And well, you got people online, Mr. Josh Pate, late kick Josh, I believe is who I saw. Saying if Texas loses Texas A&M, they shouldn't be in the playoffs because where's Texas is a good win. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun too. Like, look. Nothing is decided. You got college football playoff poll tonight. Don't freak out. Just look at it and say, meh, okay. You got 2 more weeks of absolute insanity ahead of us. Maybe even 3 when you consider the college, the championship weekend. Yeah, go ahead.
Texas A&M, they do only have 1 loss in conference right now. South Carolina. They beat LSU.
Oh, yes. No, their second loss is at home with LSU. Yes. Okay.
Notre Dame in week 1, that's their second loss. So they're 8-2 right now.
Foolish Joe. Thank you.
No. It's such a cluster at the top of the SEC. So we're still in play for our giant. Auburn beat Texas A&M. 2-loss Texas A&M beats Texas. Then we have 6 2-loss teams at the top of the SEC. But we're still in play.
Do you think they messed up doing this divisionless?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Because part of me thinks, but another part of me thinks, oh, it's awesome.
I think you should have had divisions, and you should have just evenly dispersed the talent throughout those divisions. It's pretty simple. They didn't do that. The West was loaded with the best teams in the SEC.
If I'm Georgia, I am so mad right now.
I'd be sick.
If I'm a Georgia, I'd be so so mad. You played Clemson, at Alabama, at Ole Miss, at Texas, and we're still
All for nothing.
And we're sitting here at home against Tennessee, and we're sitting here November 19th, like, I don't know if they're going to be in or not. That's the most battle-tested team in the country.
I can't wait to see Kirby get on ESPN
on Sunday when they're left out
and just, go off.
I mean,
scorched earth.
He can afford the fine.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be great. All right, let's finish this.
All right, Auburn, do your thing this weekend. Go beat Texas A&M. Give us our chaos scenario.
Let me get Christy's Bama in the NFL tracker. Our friend Christy Patrick from BamaCentral.com doing a great job each and every week tracking all the activity from Alabama in the NFL. We encourage you to check out her site. I mean, her page
awesome.
is insane. All right, here it is. Here's the tracker. Bam.
I know that there are a lot of Bama fans who aren't super loyal to one team in the NFL, but will watch the Bama guys. And if you want to do that, seriously, keep track with this. It's amazing.
You're right. I mean, this is every Alabama player that played in the league this week, no matter what team they played for, in about 30 seconds. I can take in all this information. Mac Jones, no touchdowns. Tua, 3 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones lost 52-6, 17 of 29, 138, only one sack, okay, and 1 interception. All right, not good. Tua Tagovailoa threw a touchdown pass to Jonnu Smith twice, and Taysom Hill, Tyreek Hill, not Taysom Hill.
I should have looked like a genius in my fantasy league because I picked up Jonnu Smith and he scored me 28 this week, but he was matched up against Taysom Hill, who scored 42.
Ouch. 5 Alabama running back touchdowns this week. Alabama runners took 97 carries for 399 yards and 5 touchdowns this week.
Josh Jacobs had him a good game.
Where's Jacobs? Jacobs right there. 18 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown against my Chicago Bears. Great job, Josh Jacobs. Jermaine Burton got himself a reception, got onto the field.
Speaking of, they targeted him a lot in that game.
4 targets.
It seemed like, Joe Burrow was really trying to get the ball to him. I feel like,
was it hey, get your head out of your butt. I will use you.
Kind of what it is. I think that it's kind of the message Joe Burrow is trying to send, because if you've watched the Bengals at all this year, their defense is atrocious. They will only win games if the offense is absolutely soaring. So, yeah, I think Joe Burrow is really trying to just hammer it through his skull.
Get on the program.
Hey, buddy, I'm going to make you look good if you let me.
Whatever it'll take to get on the program. Here's another target.
Yeah, because, they were really, I think, are trying to make him a big piece of that offense. Take a little bit of the heat off Jamar Chase.
You keep going. Let's see. Jerry Jeudy and Jameson Williams were the only Alabama receiving touchdowns this week. Jerry Jeudy with 89 yards, leading all Alabama receivers. 11 targets for him. 6 catches, 142.
All Jerry Jeudy needed was a quarterback.
140.
Now he's got one. Jameis Winston.
Is that the rest of it? Derrick Henry fumble.
Derrick Henry didn't do a whole lot. He got bottled up.
Marlon Humphrey got himself another interception, it looks like. Lots of tackles. 5 tackles for Brian Branch. 6 tackles for Xavier McKinney. All right, good little day, Bama in the NFL. Any takeaways? I know that Xavier McKinney had himself a little error. At the start of the Packers-Bears game. He's one of the Packers captains and has had a great year. Absolutely great year. Sure. A lot of interceptions. And goes out to the coin toss and they say, heads or tails? And he goes, we want to defer. And it's like, that wasn't the question.
He's just a little excited. Just jumping a little bit. I guarantee he was sitting there like somebody was just talking. Hey, this is what we want to defer. Okay. I got it. He just ran up there, defer. Just got a little excited.
It didn't matter. Packers winning a very dramatic game as usual.
A heartbreaker.
I didn't watch it.
Hey, John Mechie got involved last night in Texas. Cowboys
tell me about
game.
that.
Yeah,
because I didn't watch Monday Night Football. Monday Night Raw, baby.
Cowboys suck. We know this. We know this to be true. We've known this to be true. They're now 3-7 on the year, losing last night to the Texans 34-10. But John Mechie gets involved, had 3 catches, 33 yards, so they're trying to get him involved in the offense. But John Mechie, special teams, stud. Put him in on punt return. Cowboys run a fake punt. Try to get a little dump pass up the middle. And here comes the Mechie train. Just absolutely lays the guy out, breaks up the pass.
It wasn't similar to the Florida.
Very, very
smack.
similar to the Florida smack. I mean, decleated the guy, put the guy on his back. Mechie stands up, as he does. It was awesome. Yeah, Mechie's a dog. I think he's going to be a very good player for the Texans. He's not going to be somebody that's going to get like a crazy amount of stats or anything, but I think he will be there for a long time, and I think they'll love him for a long time.
Shoot,
he's just a football player.
Yeah, good player.
Just a football player.
Good offense, and I don't really. The Houston Texans have made me so jealous with what they've done organizationally. I hate them. I know CJ Stroud is having a struggle year for his second year, but that's what happens your second year. Organizationally, they are
just a masterclass,
running like a train. They got rid of Bill O'Brien and said, "You get out of here. You're not going to be the GM anymore. We're just going to revamp this thing." And golly, just jealousy, major jealousy. They supported
perfect head coach hire.
Yeah, they supported CJ Stroud beautifully. I mean, he's got sure. Some of these weapons have gotten hurt, but it's just like, here's you another one, buddy.
You got Nico Collins back last night. He was a leading receiver. So
I'm very jealous of what the Houston Texans are doing organizationally. And on that note, happy about how John Mechie has gotten to contribute, especially over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait for him to catch some touchdowns with my Titans.
Woo! Will you be doing the crying in your living room, or will you cry?
I will be crying. Thank you.
Just John Mechie. That kid. Oh, I think I see yesterday. Yeah, that kid. Like
that's me. That's just me thinking about the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
It's just so sad.
I watched that video and I was like, in my heart.
Two completely dysfunctional franchises ran by people who didn't earn it at all or handed it to them.
Right.
Oh,
Miss Virginia.
Pain.
101
Amy
years
Adams
old.
Strunk, I'm talking to you. Sell the team.
Miss Virginia. It's okay. You can let it go at this point. You're 101. You've lived a great life. Your grandchildren would love to start taking over and start rebuilding. Like Virginia's holding on because I just want to win a Super Bowl to make my daddy.
I want to win a Super Bowl, but I don't want to do anything that will get me there.
Yikes. Frustrating. All right. We got to get out of here for the day. We are going to have a big day today on BamaCentral.com. Actually, we are going to talk to Alabama players in the Malamore Athletic Facility here in just a little bit. And then we are going to talk to Nate Oates to hear what in the world that basketball team is going to do tomorrow night against Illinois at the CM Newton Classic.
He's ask about Aiden Sherrill.
I think I will. I think I have to. Coach, Aiden Sherrill only played a couple of minutes. What'd you see out of him, and why didn't you throw him back in the game? Period.
See what he says.
If it's not going to be me, it's going to be somebody. Yeah. But that is my number one burning question. Aiden Sherrill, only 2 minutes, 2 fouls. Didn't throw him back out there.
What happened?
And I'm sure it's
he has a very good explanation.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a stamina issue. It's a comfortability issue. It's a, oh, shoot, I think he's in over his head, and I don't want to ruin his confidence issue. I'm sure there's a great answer.
Yeah. But I want to hear it.
But it was perplexing to me on Friday night. We're going to get out of here for the day by thanking Purple Turtle Roofing once again for sponsoring the program. We will also thank Derek Daniel and State Farm for sponsoring the program, hosting us each and every day right here in the Derek Daniel State Farm studios. Call Derek and his team today at 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. We're also proudly presented by Druid City Music Hall. You can find us on the social media machines at Joe Gaither 6, at Bama Central, Alabama Crimson Tide on SI, and Bama Central on the YouTube channel. We'll get out of here for the day and talk to you again tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.